Good afternoon, YouTube viewers and subscribers. So many of you just watched my video where I ran a ASP S75A engine for the first time, and this was an engine that was given to me by a really awesome friend of mine, Scott, along with some other engines. Now in that video, I did not know prior to running this engine that there was something wrong with the front mounting hole of the exhaust, and Scott had let me know after he saw the first video saying, hey, you know, that's been brazed, it's chipped out. Now it wasn't completely broken out like it is now, and I'm going to zoom in here and show you that. Now it's completely broken out now because I didn't realize how bad that was. I didn't realize it was cracked at all before Scott sent me that email. So I had already tried to strap the muffler on there, and when I was tightening down the front screw, I felt something that didn't feel right, and I really didn't think much of it. And then Scott let me know that that was damaged. So I promptly took the exhaust off, and I saw that it had started cracking it out, and I said, well, what the hell, I'm going to just try and throw a whole bunch of JB Weld on this thing and see if that'll do it, which I knew really it wasn't going to, but I thought I'd try anyway. So I JB welded it and let it cure for about 15 hours, put the exhaust back on, and right away it started cracking. So I was like, well, the hell with it, I'm just going to run the engine anyway. So as you saw in the video, this is the chunk that was there, and this is all the JB Weld I had put on there. This broke off at some point prior to the run, and I just said, well, I'm going to see if it'll stay with those two threads, which I knew it wouldn't do that, but it was interesting anyway. So, and some astute viewers commented, well, maybe just fix it with a helicoil. And I'm looking at this thinking, and this person never even saw the damage, and I'm thinking, well, you know what? I don't think a helicoil is going to fix that, because usually a helicoil requires material. It requires meat. So unfortunately, this engine case is toast. It really cannot be used to strap on or screw in another muffler here at all, because that's compromised. No matter how much gluing or cleaning and gluing and all that kind of crap I do, it's never going to have the same structural integrity. So that, using the stock muffler on this engine's days are over. It's done with. So let me move on from that momentarily. And in that video also, there was a issue I showed you where this barrel retention screw had worked loose, and it was starting to rotate out, and which would have ultimately, if it would have come all the way out, would have resulted in the barrel pulling out. So, and in that video, I tightened it down again with a screwdriver, and it promptly locked the throttle barrel up. So I'm thinking, okay, well, either the screw is wrong, it's too long, or there's some part missing. So to remedy that, you could either shorten the screw, or you could shorten the length of material that goes into the throttle body. And I don't recall how ASP engines were delivered originally, but this one has a nut on it, and I simply just put a lock washer underneath there and screwed this down totally, and now it's in there in the groove, and it rotates freely and works well, so won't have that issue again. The only other thing with this carb was it did not have a clicking clicker or ratchet mechanism here to hold this in place. So as with many carbs in the past, ASP, just about any carb, you can quickly and easily just put a piece of silicone tubing over that to seal leaks if there should be any, and also act as a means to add friction so that doesn't rotate. So those are the things I've done to that to get this engine a little bit more operational ready. So instead of just saying, well, you know, the hell with this engine, I can't run it anymore because I really want to run this compared to some other 76 size engines, what I thought about doing was, I've got a strap-on muffler, which is about the only thing this engine is ever going to be able to have fit on there again, is a strap-on muffler, and this just so happens to be the strap-on muffler for my HP 61 Gold Cup engine. So I was looking at it, pulled it out this morning, I was like, crap, this thing just doesn't quite fit. So I flipped it over, and let me pull this exhaust off here real quick. So it's got these flanges here that just don't allow it to fit snugly over that engine. And I don't want to just sit there and crush it because these will become damaged. So what it looks like needs to happen here for this to work is, it looks like on the bottom it fits fine, and or the top it's just not quite gonna do it there. So my solution here, since this engine case is toast anyway, and the only way to really attach a regular muffler to it again would be to replace the engine case, is I'm going to take my Dremel and I'm just going to very gently and very carefully kind of kerf or put a little bit of an angle down on this section right here. Just remove enough material so that I can get this exhaust to actually go up flush there. And initially I was kind of considering maybe just gluing this chunk of metal back in here, but I don't even think I'm going to bother doing that because it's just the outer boss where the screw went in. It doesn't breach into the cylinder there at all, so there's really no need in even wasting time with that. So I mean, I could thread a screw in there, cut the screw off, and have more material to glue on there and make it look a little bit prettier, but you know, obviously this engine isn't running for looks right now anyway, it's just running for performance, so I'm not going to mess with that. So I'm going to Dremel this down a little bit here, and I'll show you the results of that. Hopefully I'll be successful. The other thing that I had was this OS 58 Max 58 engine that I showed in the first video when I got all of these, and I was showing how the exhaust area here is damaged and broke out, and I was like, well crap, I don't know if I want to have an exhaust that I can run on this. Well, guess what? Here it is. Very same exhaust. This one will fit on here without a problem. So I had it fitting on there. Yeah. So that'll fit on there real nice. All I gotta do is snug it down and I'll be able to run this engine with this exhaust also. So I'm getting a twofer here on this, using this exhaust, because it'll fit on this engine and it'll fit on this ASP engine. The only thing is here, it looks like it's broken out quite a bit here, so I am going to have a little bit of exhaust leakage at the top of this area here, but that's okay. I mean, hell, this engine was designed to use a baffle, so it's not like they were really worried about, it wasn't designed to necessarily need muffler pressure. So that's not really the issue here, but I will be able to utilize this exhaust to run this engine, and we should be good to go. So let me get to putting a little Dremel action on this ASP 75 and see if I can actually fit that exhaust to it. Okay, so I've got this engine just very lightly clamped in my benchtop vise here, and I'm not going to be able to angle this much, but I am going to at least try and my head may be in the way because I really need to be able to see what I'm doing here, but I'm going to show here real quick that what I'm going to attempt to do. Okay, so I've removed some material. Oops, wrong way. Ended up having to remove quite a bit more than I really thought. I don't know if you're really going to be able to, if I'm going to be able to get a good angle here. But I had to not only kind of angle it, but I kind of went in a little bit. So there is where I use my Dremel. So it appears that this muffler might fit fairly well after all. I just need to get a screwdriver. Okay, so it does seem to fit quite well now. Looks like maybe it's not quite as well as I thought. I might end up actually having to file this or Dremel this down a little bit more. I'm still seeing some daylight here. So looks like I may have to still do a little bit more work up here to get this to fit more flush. I mean, it's pretty much there, but it's just not quite there right now. So let me hit this again I'll stuff some more paper towel in the orifices and get it going again here. Okay, so after a bit more grinding, what I ended up having to do was, actually instead of doing an angle, I kind of initially did the angle and then I had to go in flat like this, so I don't really have a gap there anymore. I was seeing a gap here at the back. So it looks like it's snugged up there nice and tight, and this engine will now be ready to be run again with no damage to my exhaust and no real permanent damage to this engine now. It should run just as well as it did before. Maybe I can do a little bit more tuning on it and get it running optimally. And I guess the good news out of all this is I've got another muffler that I can use for another engine. So that's what I've had to do to this ASP 75A engine. So stay tuned for some other videos of it running.